Now therefore, I, Matthew G. Bevan, Governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2018 as Beef Month.
You're watching Kentucky Cattle News, sharing the latest information from the Kentucky Cattlemen's Association, Beef Council, Beef Network, and the beef cattle industry. Produced for the over 38,000 beef cattle producers here in the Bluegrass State. Hi, I'm Kaya Twisselman, your host for Kentucky Cattle News. May is Beef Month in Kentucky, and to kick off the month-long celebration of beef, bourbon, and bluegrass, the Kentucky Beef Council and the Governor's Office held a proclamation signing and cookout on the Capitol lawn in Frankfort to officially declare May as Beef Month in the Commonwealth. Over 150 Capitol goers and cattlemen came out to enjoy a burger and celebrate beef.
Kentucky Cattlemen's Association and the Kentucky Beef Council encourage the people of Kentucky to join with them in enjoying beef during May, and I will add, although it's not written here, every other month of the year.
Half of our farms in Kentucky have beef cattle on it, and in Kentucky, beef is big business. Over almost $750 million of cattle are sold here each and every year. Kentucky continues to have the reputation of being one of the highest quality beef herds anywhere to be found in America.
What's not to love? 'Tis the season. We are Kentucky.
As part of the Beef Month Gives Back campaign, 2,000 pounds of Kentucky Cattlemen's ground beef were donated to God's Pantry Food Bank to help communities in need.
This was just something that we needed to do to support the Kentucky Food Banks. It's in partnership with the Kentucky Department of Agriculture's Hunger Initiative, and we're just proud to be a partner in that endeavor. We would appreciate all consumers supporting the Kentucky beef producer in any way possible, and they can do that the most readily in that they can go to the Kroger beef case and purchase our Kentucky Cattlemen's ground beef. And then all year long, obviously, we appreciate the support of the consumer purchasing beef because we do produce the highest, safest, most nutritious beef product in the world for that matter, and we can do it right here in Kentucky.
Those interested in joining the cause can purchase a Beef, Bourbon, and Bluegrass t-shirt online at provisionsky.com or in store at Wildcat Warehouse. For every t-shirt purchased, 50% of all proceeds will be donated to the Kentucky Association of Food Banks. Follow the Kentucky Beef Council on social media for Beef Month news and events. Administered by the Kentucky Cattlemen's Foundation, the Animal Shelter Assistant Grant provides financial assistance for agencies for shelter expansion, improvement, or general needs to ensure the well-being of animals in the shelter. The grant has distributed $35,000 in 8 years to shelters and animal control centers across Kentucky. Oldham County Animal Control received the grant in 2016.
80% of what we deal with are dogs, but we do deal, with cats and with livestock. We deal with everything. If it's a domesticated species of animal, then it's in our purview to deal with it. We had a very large, almost an acre, fenced-in pen where we could hold livestock, but they had no shelter in there. Cattlemen's had a grant available to build a run-in shed, for the impounded livestock. The Kentucky Cattlemen's gave us $700 in a grant, and then the Oldham County Cattlemen's supplemented that with another $250. So we got almost $1,000 to build the run-in shed. We have used it many, many times since.
The grant was established to help build relationships between farmers and shelter personnel for emergency cases.
Getting together with the Oldham County Animal Shelter was maybe just an eye-opening experience for us, and we really didn't realize some of the things they were doing, so it was a great opportunity to get together with their director and see what some of their needs were.
All of these big national animal welfare organizations, they've never given a penny to Oldham County in the 15-year tenure that I was there. That really, other than the Cattlemen's Association, I've never had anybody earmark money to help livestock.
Grant monies can be used for building projects, equipment needs, and materials like food and cleaning supplies.
As a livestock producer, we want to help really all other livestock producers, whether they've got goats or swine or horses or cattle. So putting together this project with the run-in shed was a win-win situation for all of us here in the county.
To apply for the grant, shelters must submit an application by June 16th and be signed off by a local cattlemen's member. The form can be found online at this address. Our producer spotlight this month is Joe Michael Moore of Barren County. On his family's over 200-year-old farm, Joe Michael Moore and his son Andy raised 276 head of cattle along with hogs and sheep, which they sell directly to consumers. The Moores are proud of their family's heritage and the service that they provide their community.
I'm Joe Michael Moore. We're in Barren County, Kentucky. This is my family's farm. My grandfather Was born in 1758. He's buried here in a cemetery, and he built this house in 1810. We've been farming this land through all the generations.
Hey, I'm Andy Joe Moore. I am the 8th generation on this farm, and I work with my dad on the farm daily. I did grow up on this farm, spending many days with my dad and my granddaddy. I guess I'm as proud of the heritage that we have on this particular land.
It's amazing to be out here in the fields and think about how many children, how many people worked here over 200 years. What we do today is we try to sell our products, the beef, the pork, the sheep, straight to the consumer. We really push quality. It's not how much we do, but it's how good it is.
We've seen the cow give birth to a calf, and we've raised the calf up, and you know, we're going to get to hear about the final product when we share those stories and friendships with the consumers that are buying this beef to take home with them.
This is a New York strip. It's marbled pretty well. It's graded prime. Here's a ribeye prime. We go to the farmers markets regularly. Last year we were visited by Mammoth Cave National Park, some folks that got the new contract, and we worked it out. We were able to furnish Mammoth Cave National Park their beef last year, and it turned out real well. We're serving beef to people all over the world. Mammoth Cave has over 2 million visitors, and there's people eating our beef grown right here in this county from all over the world.
Now to Kenny Burdine, your UK Extension livestock economist, for a discussion of feeder cattle futures prices and how to use them for your management decisions.
So the simplest way for me to think about the futures market is this. You want to think about it as it's a market where we establish prices for commodities, in this case cattle, that are going to be delivered at a later date. So for example, right now there's an August feeder cattle futures contract that's trading on the board. And you can think of that as a price expectation for the month of August. So when you think about the live cattle futures contract, understand that those are fed cattle, or what we might call slaughter cattle. So those are cattle that are coming off feed and ready to be harvested. Feeder cattle futures are for heavy feeder cattle that are ready to be placed on feed. And this is the one that has the most impact on Kentucky producers and impacts our local markets here in the state. So the first thing to understand is that when you see that futures price, that's for a specific quantity of cattle. In the case of feeder cattle, we're talking about 50,000 pounds, so what a semi-truck holds. So 50,000 pounds of feeder cattle. The weight range on those is between 700 and 900 pounds. They are steers, and they're medium and large frame number 1s and 2s. Now, the next thing they want to understand is location. Feeder cattle futures contracts are cash settled to actual cattle sales in 12 major cattle producing states. So think about the central part of the U.S., from the southern plains up to the northern plains. So that 800-pound medium large frame number 1 and 2 steer, he's somewhere in the central part of the United States where the larger feedlot areas are. The first thing to understand is, why do Kentucky feeder cattle prices sell for less than feeder cattle in the western part of the country? Simple answer is transportation cost. That's where most of the feedlots are. So most of our feeder cattle in Kentucky are going to move out west to be placed on feed. So our cattle of similar weight and grade are going to sell for less than feeder cattle prices out west because ours have got to be transported out there. But if we understand that the same factors that impact feeder cattle prices out west also impact Kentucky feeder cattle prices, we also know that things that impact the futures market should impact Kentucky markets similarly. So while our prices may not always match futures markets perfectly, they should move together, which allows us to use them for some sense of price direction and forecasting. So if we've got markets that move in the same direction, in this case the futures market and the Kentucky market, people that are large enough and move large enough quantities of feeder cattle can actually sell a futures contract where they can make money on that contract if prices go down, and that would offset the fact that if those prices do go down, their value of their cattle in Kentucky decreases as well. So the futures market provides us a sense for both market direction and in some cases a way to actually protect ourselves from downside price risk.
Be sure to mark these dates on your calendar. May 11th, Taste of Beef event at Bluegrass Stockyards in Lexington. May 15th, Lunch and Learn series at the Yards in Lexington. June 8th through 9th, KJCA Leadership Camp in Lexington. June 8th through 9th, Fort Herod Beef Festival in Harrodsburg. Follow the KCA Facebook page and YouTube channel for more clips and extended content. To download a copy of this segment, visit kycattle.org. And tune into our next segment in June. Thanks for watching Kentucky Cattle News, where we're always thankful for farm families, healthy herds, and tasty traditions.